Okay. Exciting math videos. Okay, so in this problem, we need 1/2 a times n times s. Now, in this case, all I know so far is I know the number of sides is 5. So the number of sides, obviously, is something I can count. That's not very hard to come up with. But I need to find a, which is that vertical height there from, or basically anything from the center to the edge. I also need to find s, which is the side length. I don't know either of those. Given what, and like yesterday we were able to use Pythagorean theorem, but I don't know 2 of the sides of our right triangle. I only know 1. So when I only know 1, I have to use SOHCAHTOA, but I need an angle for that. Can you focus with us, please? So, okay. So we need to find an angle. So that's why we did the warm-up we did. So we're going to find the central angle here. So the reason we want to find the central angle is because I want to find this part here. Now if I find the central angle, how am I going to find that little angle? It's going to be half of it. So this little angle here is going to be half of the central angle. So I'm going to find s, which is half of the central angle. And the central angle, remember, is 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 5 in this case. We just did this one, so that's 72, right? So that means that angle up there is going to be half of that. So our x is going to be half of 72, which will be the 36. Yeah. So what I have here is I have this 36-degree angle. I have 10. I'm looking for A. I'm technically also looking for S, but in this case, A is probably going to be a little easier to find. So let's focus with that first, and then we'll talk about where S comes in. Now again, the warm-up question took us through this, where we know this is my hypotenuse, this is my adjacent. So we're going to do cosine of 36 equals A over 10. So I'm going to multiply each side by 10. Again, we're not doing many of these problems because these are long problems. A lot of work to do here. Cancel that. And I got like 8.1 for my abathon. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. A is 8.1. I still need to find S. How do you guys want to find S? A couple of different ways to do it. What's that?
Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean theorem. Is that what you guys lean towards, Pythagorean theorem? We could do SOHCAHTOA again. Pythagorean theorem is probably pretty easy in this case, but careful, when you find that other side, is that your S? No, this is going to be half of S. So whenever we get this side, whatever that is, we're going to have to double it to figure out S. So that's why these problems are definitely tough. There's a lot of steps to them. So we're going to have to double that amount. So you can either do SOHCAHTOA, Pythagorean theorem. It sounds like Pythagorean theorem is the way to go based off what you guys are saying. I'm going to call this just B down here. So I'm going to do 10 squared minus 8.1 squared. Take the square root of that. And I get 5.8 for my B. 5.9, I guess, 5.86. Maybe I'll be more specific. Now B is 5.86. So in order to figure out S, I have to do 2 B's. B and B. Add them. So I'm going to double that. So my S ends up being 11.7. Now after that whole big mess, I should have enough to do my formula now, right? So my area is 1/2. A is 8.1 times N is 5 times S is 11.7. You guys get like 236.9? Does that sound right? Anyone? Yeah. All right, so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to do different versions of these same problems depending on what information they give us. So number 2 is a little bit better. In number 2, they give us one of the sides, and we know the number of sides. Now this is a triangle, so it might be possible that you'd want to kind of bypass. I mean, you could probably figure this out by doing base times height divide by 2. But I'm probably I'm gonna go through it using our formula we just learned, just to practice it that way. Okay. So again, I'm gonna do. Now in this case, they give us 12, which is a side length. So they told me S is 12. I need to find A, but I also know the number of sides is 3. Now again, you might just it might be just driving you crazy. Why can't we just do this as a normal triangle? You could, but again, just to practice, if you guys could just hang with me and do it this way. So we have our A there. I don't know A, and I don't know this, they call that like a radius in a regular polygon. I don't know that either. Now when I draw this little triangle, what does this one side become now? So this is 6 now over here. That's okay, because it's 12 separated. But I need to find that central angle again. So I need to find this angle up here. But when I find that angle, I have to remember it's part of the whole central angle, which the central angle goes vertex to vertex. So 360 divided by 3, number of sides, is 120 would be vertex to vertex. So what's that top angle going to be? If this is 120, what's this little top angle going to be up there? 60. It's going to be a 60. So I'm trying to find little a. I don't really need that other side. I don't need the hypotenuse. It's not necessary in this case, so all I need to do is find little a. Now, if you really were great at special right triangles, you could do it using special right triangles or trig. What do you guys think? Which way do you guys want to go about this one? Trig, okay. Do you want to use the 60 or would you rather use something else? Something else. I would probably use the other angle. The reason I wouldn't want to use the 60, because this would be opposite, this would be adjacent, and then my A is in the denominator. So being kind of smart about your strategic rule here, so I instead would say, let's use this 30, so we know it's a 30, 60, 90. Then this is our opposite, and here's my adjacent. It might just bug you because it's A. But if I do that, opposite and adjacent is tangent. Tangent of 30, again, we chose to use that because now our unknown's on the top rather than being on the bottom. And if anyone was still loving special right triangles, I don't know if anyone loved those ever, but you could have used that and you would have ended up dividing by the square root of 3. So if you're like, how would I have done that? That would have been the way to get there. Tangent of 30, so I got 3.46 for my A. So we found A, we found N, we knew S, I guess we knew both of them. And so again, my formula, 1/2 A times N times S. Now when I can do it, when I can leave it in my calculator, it's long decimal, I'm just gonna leave it with all the decimal places, times 3 times 12, don't forget to do half of that. And I get 62.35. Now, if you rounded it all, it might be a little bit off from that. Okay. So I need to fix my board here, so we might take a mini unofficial break here. And I do have a worksheet for you guys for homework. How are we doing? Ready to keep going? Okay.
Never.
We only have 3 more examples though, so let's.
Diabolical.
All right. And then, like I said, I have a worksheet for you guys, and the worksheet's a little on the long side, so I'll shorten it up. We'll probably. Yeah, I'll figure out. Okay, so our next one here, what information have they given us? They gave us A, so they gave us little a, the abathim. So in my ANS, 1/2 ANS, I know little a is 4. I know the number of sides is how much? 6, thanks for being on count. And then we need to find the side length. Now, in order to find the side length, when I only know that smaller amount of information, I have to use my central angle. And remembering that when I'm figuring out this angle, it's always going to be half of the whole angle there, the whole central angle. So I'm going to do 360 and divide it by 6. Now, the 6-sided figures work really nicely, so you probably will see more of those on like your homework assignments because they're nice numbers. When the angles start becoming decimals and stuff, it's a pretty big pain. So this will be 60 here. Oh, my board is being bad. 60. But that's not going to be the top angle. What's the top angle going to be? It's going to be 30. Remember, once we find the central angle, you always have to take half of it. So we always have to cut that in half. So that top angle up there is going to be 30 degrees. So this is 30, this is 4. I'm trying to find this x over here. Once I find that x, I have to double it to find my side length. So you have to be thinking about this. You can't just like kind of just go through the motions and like find each of the values. You have to think about what you know and what you're finding. In this case, I would probably use just tangent. Again, you could use special right triangles if you're fine with them. So tangent of 30 equals x over 4. And then we're going to figure out what that x is. So I'm going to do 4 times the tangent of 30. And I get like 2.3 for my x. 2.31. Now that's just this. So in order to find out the side length, I have to double it. So I got like 4.62 for my side length. Is that okay? Once I have that, then we just have to do our formula. 1/2 a times n times s. And again, anytime I can, I leave the really long decimal in my calculator, so I'm just going to work backwards from this. It just keeps my answer a little bit more accurate. So I use that previous answer and just multiply those all together. And I got like 55.4. And this should be feet squared. There's a unit on that. Okay. Now number 4, this is an 8-sided shape. So our octagon, so 8 sides, so n is 8. Our side length this time is 11. I need to find little a. If I could draw. Okay, so I need to find this little a here. That probably goes too far into the center. Now when we talk about this angle and this triangle, remember that that leg over there is only going to be half of that. So that's going to be 5.5 over there. I'm trying to find my A. And again, to find that angle, we have to find the central angle, and then we have to divide it in half. Now this one's a bigger pain because I believe that we get a decimal. 360 divided by 8 is 45. So I have to cut that in half to find my central angle. So that's going to be 22.5 up here. Now I think just because it's just one more thing to do, I think I'm going to stick with just doing tangent the way it is. So I'm doing tangent of 22.5. I want to remind you guys on how we can still solve this, so don't always avoid this, or you don't need to always avoid it. If I need to figure out what that little a is, and a is in the denominator, do you guys remember what to do to solve that? It's a bigger pain, but make it like a fraction. So we're going to make it like proportions. So I'm going to cross multiply here. I'm going to have a times the tangent of 22.5 is going to equal 5.5. And in order to solve for a then, this is being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by the tangent of 22.5. So it's not impossible if you do have that variable in the denominator. So I got like 13. Is that what you guys got? Yeah. So 13.28. And so now I have A, N, and S, and so we could do that. Make sure phones aren't out, guys, and those I'm taking them. Gotta be paying attention. Grab a calculator if you need it. Again, multiply all that together, and I get 584.2. And did we have a units on that one? What's that? Inches and then inches squared. Just so you guys know, some of our homework tonight, actually the whole first 10 questions on our homework tonight is the kind where they give you all the information. So you don't have to do all these steps on the first part of the homework. The second part of the homework is where it gets a little more complicated, and I will shorten that up for you guys, but I do want you guys to work on those as well. So last one here, let's do this one with this goofy square root here. So they give us strange square root, 2 square roots of 3 for our apothem. Now this is a 6-sided shape. And so we need to find the side length. But again, 6, once you get these down, the central angle is pretty obvious. I mean, hopefully you're just gonna start getting good at knowing, oh, I like when it's 6, like, I mean, not that you're like excited or anything, but you're like, it's easier, so that's 60 degrees. So that makes this 30. Now in this case, I would suggest rather than using trig, if it's in this form, it's actually really nice to use 30, 60, 90. Do you guys see it? I'll draw it bigger if that helps. If I'm trying to find this, and that's a 30, 60, 90, do we know what x is?
2.
It's 2. Because if you guys, in a 30, 60, 90, if that's the middle side, the x would just be 2, so I don't even have to use trig. So if it's set up well, like, I don't want to have to divide by the square root of 2 if it's not a nice number, but that one's really nice. So x ends up being 2. So this is 2, this is 2, so the side is 4. And then again, we just do our formula then. Okay? So for this worksheet, we are going to do, and so again, the front side is all from yesterday. So this is all where they give you all the information you need. The back side is where you have to start using some tricks. Hey. I don't know. How early would be make you feel better? I was thinking of getting here at 5:45. Is that okay?
Probably a year before that. So
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna.
It feels like we're doing a couple of things in the office, so.
And I'll bring my computer out.
That's why I say
You're right. I'm like, now we're on to 3. Yes.
Well, which is fine. We're just
Yeah.
one in each tab. Which should be
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Sounds good.
I
Thank you
just
so
wanted
much.
to check.
Yes, I will be here. So for our homework, you guys. So we are gonna do 1 through 14 all, and then we're just gonna do number 16. And so, graduation. Yeah. Do you know Tyler Fisher's name?
Oh shit.
I think we're in play.
It was really good.
Yeah, I totally didn't expect it. He's got such a cool sounding voice. Like it's just very like I can't even picture him like singing that.
He doesn't seem like it, but